Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Spiritual Grind. We hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to follow, hit the little bell for your notifications when the podcast is posted, and like, follow, and share with your friends. We hope you enjoy it. Leave a comment if there's any topics that you want us to speak about.
Like, follow, share.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jenny. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Spiritual Grind.
Good morning.
Broadcasting live from Springdale, Arkansas.
Whoop, whoop.
It was quite a trek.
Arkansas.
Arkansas. It's a little chilly here, a little windy here.
It is.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in Arkansas.
Yeah.
That trip took a minute.
It was definitely interesting.
It was. We made it, though.
It wasn't actually a bad trip. I mean, everything went pretty smoothly.
Yeah. Of course. I think it went smooth as compared as we could, I guess, for the first major trip with the motorhome.
I was going to say it was our first real, travel adventure in the motorhome and going from a point A to a point B.
For sure.
Because when we officially moved in full time, we kind of just stationed ourselves there in Daytona Beach for several months.
Yeah.
So this was our first big journey.
Yep. And
I think we did quite well,
the
honestly.
hermit crab did good. We had one failure of the topper, and that was it.
Yeah, but even that was minor.
Yeah.
And just acclimating to driving a little bit every day.
Yeah, and that was an unsure thing for me. Of course, I was constantly pedaling my feet and stuff since the event, but I just want to make sure everything's kosher,
Yeah, I can imagine.
But anyway,
it's interesting to me how it's kind of tiring when you are not used to driving.
It is very much tiring.
I found that very interesting. Of course, when each day when you stop and you have to set everything up and then
the next day
bed down, and then the next day pack everything back up. It's a different way of life, honestly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm glad to be here and be set for a minute.
Yeah. But we're here, and so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Ready for Ozarks Research Institution's annual Power of Thought School.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Getting ready for that.
Yeah. Yep. Get ready for it. That's this week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Right? What day? I have to look now.
I don't know. That's up
Third,
to you.
fourth, fifth, and sixth. It's 4 days, so I assume it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But anyway.
That's your job. Come on, man.
Right, I'm behind a little bit on it, I guess.
Get it together.
But anyway, you ready for the topic of the day? And shout out to all of our Arkansas listeners, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and shout out to our Daytona Beach listeners.
Of course.
Actually,
and Texas listeners. And
shout out to all of our listeners.
And who's ever is listening. There's like 5 or 6 people in Australia that listen to our podcast. And to whoever they are, I'd hope you'd reach out because I'd love to hear from you. Absolutely. It would be kind of cool.
I love to hear them talk.
Yeah. It's funny. We do, and it's growing over there, actually. It started with 1, and so I assume it's just growing over there because we also have 3 in Italy now. So 3 or 4.
I mean, we're globally.
Oh, yeah.
We have a few and
a few countries.
A few countries.
I think it said 40 countries it's been downloaded in.
Yeah.
Can't remember. But hey, it's cool.
It is.
It's kind of cool.
I am I am intrigued on what topic you chose. I have a backup topic.
You are. So would you like to
first.
bring the topic today?
No, you. Let me see what you pick.
Well,
See if I approve.
mine is, because I don't produce anything here either. It's just okay. So mine is about, how does daydreaming play into intentions?
Ooh, very nice. And mine was imagination and how it works into the whole mechanism of things.
Nice.
So we're on the same page and hadn't previously talked about it.
I agree.
Don't you love how that works?
Of course. Because here's my take on it.
Uh-huh.
I think imagination plays probably 50% or better of intention setting and manifestation of the intentions that you've set.
Yeah, my goal today is to share with you the actual secret of how this all works.
You
That you're not going to get on the secret. This is the piece that everybody leaves out.
Okay. Please do share.
Well, not yet. I'm building you up.
Oh, you are? I should have a drum roll on here.
I'm not going to go straight to the climax. That's not how a good novel works.
But, for me, so like when we put our mind to doing something, we set our intentions around it. And then most of the time, you're the daydreamer of the two of us. You will.
Absolutely. I do not live in reality.
You dream a lot more than I do. I kind of go into human function of starting to manifest that. And that's kind of built into me from a very young age.
It is actually built into a lot of people at a very young age. And the unfortunate part of that is that at a very young age, we are taught that our daydreams or our imagination is just fantasy.
Yeah.
Giving it the illusion that it's not real or that it has no place in the whole mechanism of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate because then you have to train your mind to believe quite the opposite of that.
Well, and I want to throw something in there because when I was taking personal development courses back in the day,
Yeah.
one of the things they teach you is to visualize your dreams.
Right.
But they don't tell you what to do after that.
I am going to tell you.
And because that was really part of my schooling in positive mindset was becoming what you visualize.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
But they don't tell you after that's because that used to be my personal development course. I asked many times, so what do you do after that? What do you do after that? And basically they tell you live by faith.
Right. Nobody has taken the time to really give a bullet point, step by step. Here's what that looks like.
Right.
They
all like The Secret. Even
plan.
The movie The Secret. It's kind of a hidden thing. That's why they call it The Secret, because they don't ever actually reveal the secret.
Right. Yeah. They don't ever fully explain the mechanism of how this universal structure works.
Okay.
And even now, you're talking about for yourself. You've gone from daydreaming, which in school we're taught don't daydream.
Right.
The teacher says, "Oh, he's just a daydreamer. I can't get him to focus in class," making it out to be like it's a wrong thing or like a negative thing.
Right.
So we get taught at a very young age that daydreaming is inappropriate.
Correct.
And the reality of this whole mechanism and the reality behind daydreaming or imagination, which we're also taught, it just has a negative ring about it.
Yeah. But
imaginary friends.
Yeah, we just saw a commercial yesterday with a girl was, I think it was on the news actually. She was saying that if you get scared about something, use your imaginary friend, and that makes you feel better.
Oh yeah. It was on
And that was
a
on
little
TV.
cartoon station that I was
Yeah.
that was on that I was watching.
So our age group is starting to teach their grandkids that it's okay to have an imaginary friend.
Right. Absolutely. That's what it was. The cartoon I was watching, it was about having imaginary friends.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And the little fellow was going to the dentist and he couldn't find his imaginary friend. And so he borrowed his sister's and it was annoying and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yep.
I love watching cartoons. Anyways, so let's dig into this. Everybody got your carrot sandwich open and ready to go? Got your fork and your knife in hand? Let's dig into this. So, daydreaming and imagination are actually, in fact, the first step in creating your reality. Every single thing that we use in our day-to-day basis, that we see, that we notice, that we utilize, came from somebody somewhere having an imaginary thought before it existed in reality. Every single thing, every car, every phone, every computer,
and Tesla,
every single thing somewhere began as somebody's imagination.
Yeah, Tesla, like when on his video that the documentary about him, they said that he had actually had a dream and visualized the Tesla coil.
Right. Exactly. Right. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Is that we are taught that imagination is just fantasy and it's not beneficial.
Right.
But the reality is that it is the key component to the beginning of this whole mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to think of it. Somebody has to daydream it. Somebody has to imagine it.
Right.
In order for it to take root.
Agreed. Everything that we use, this microphone you're using right now, was something, a daydream of somebody.
Yeah, any and everything. You can look around your office, wherever you're at right now, your home, every single thing that's in existence that you use on a regular basis was somebody's imagination, somebody's daydream.
Somebody's idea. Yep.
Somebody's idea.
Yep.
And so it was non-existent except for in that individual's or group of people's imagination before it was in imagined existence where you could actually touch it, smell it, taste it, hear it, whatever. Yes. So that's number one key component.
Which everybody that I know is good at this part. They can imagine stuff and they can wish they were doing things.
Mm-hmm.
They wish they had this. They wish they had that. And but in my opinion of that, and I don't know what your next step is because it's the first time we've really ever discussed this, is they lose it going from daydream to actually doing the next step.
Yes.
They don't know what to do.
And why do you think that is? What do you think happens?
Well, I think it was stifled thought. I think it was
from what?
From childhood. I think we're stifled from childhood.
What is the stifled thought concept?
Beliefs. It's you believe that it's too much for you or you can't do it or all that monkey mind thoughts come in that are based around beliefs.
Yeah, so if you're going to generalize that into one word or maybe two, it would be doubt and fear.
I would agree.
If you doubt that you're worthy or you doubt that it can happen or you doubt that you can make it happen or you're afraid and of its existence and you being a part of it, that right there will stop it in its tracks.
Well, and I had one time somebody tell me, as a matter of fact, it was one of the clients actually, he said, I always wanted to do this, but my dad told me I would never be more than this. And that belief stifled him from creating a couple of things.
Because it created a sense of unworthiness.
Yeah, I agree. And then another part of that gets brought up to my attention is the fear of money and being able to finance things, which stifles dreams.
Right. So essentially, we're right back to fear and doubt.
Mm-hmm, I agree. Yeah, I know. I was just putting that in there.
Oh, well.
And so when you get to the fear and doubt, I know there's a lot of things. Some people are very good at this. And this is where I think that the human thought processes get broken more. Because, like me, I am very good at doing the work. I'm very good at doing the work. And you're very good at daydreaming the stuff. And what's crazy about it is I've always been that dreamer, that guy that can see things, precognitively when I read people's auras and those kind of things. But I've never been able to find the channel to do that for myself. And I'm working on it. I've been working on that a lot. But I think the part of it that really stopped, it seems to be two people. You have the person that can dream, and they just they don't do any work. Then you have the guy that has the person that has the work that don't really have the dream.
Yeah, or you have the person that used to do all the work and learned how to do the dreaming.
Right, and
because anybody can do it.
Oh, I agree.
It's just a technique, and it's a trained thought process of kind of doing things in reverse of what we're taught.
Okay, please carry on. Your listeners are waiting for your climatic reveal.
Ooh, So here's the thing. You don't even have to do the work.
Okay.
You don't have to go out and physically hammer the square peg into the round hole. As a matter of fact, if you've got fear and doubt in your way, the actions that you're taking to try and make shit happen is actually futile, and it's going to wear you out. You're going to burn out, and then more doubt comes in and more fear comes in.
Okay.
See, I told you couldn't do it. I knew you couldn't. Then that monkey mind brain starts to conversate in a doubtful way.
Right.
And so what has to happen is you've got to train a new habit, right? Because we, unfortunately, are I'll believe it when I see it mentality.
Well, people have been taught that. That's actually in the Bible. It's in the majority.
Actually, it's not in the Bible.
Oh, it is.
Have faith.
Right, live by faith, not by sight.
Not by sight.
That's right. It's in 6 of the major religious books.
What I'm saying is most people want to see it before they have the faith, before they believe it.
I agree.
And that's what trips them up.
I agree. I think that what I'm trying to communicate is it's kind of like, for example, I can tell you in the book of Corinthians where they talk about developing your life through your dreams, that it's almost has the feel throughout the book, even living by faith, not by sight. It kind of has a reverse psychology type of feel to it in the Bible.
I don't understand.
So, like, for example, they say you should live by faith, not by sight.
Okay.
And so if somebody walks up to you on the street and says, you should live by faith, you should not manifest by faith. You should manifest by sight.
Okay.
And it feels, it has the energy behind it is very much it's like derogatory almost, like you're not gonna accomplish it.
Well,
and that's where,
of course,
that's what I'm talking about, is
because
that feeling.
You have to remember that your reality is a mirror. I will say this time and time again. Your reality is a mirror of the old you, the old energy you had yesterday.
Okay.
It is not the real reality of what you are today. Every morning when you wake up a different you.
Okay.
And you get the opportunity to begin again and to set intentions on who you want to assume, what character you want to assume that day.
Okay.
Whether it be, I'm done being sick, I'm healthy. And you hold that. No matter what your physical body is showing you, no matter what that experience is currently that you're experiencing, you believe and believe and believe, and you keep telling yourself, I'm healthy.
Yeah.
And depending on your time frame of how long you think that it will take for that to lock into place and you start seeing the effects of that is up to you, because time doesn't exist either.
Okay.
It's your construct.
Okay.
But I'm here to tell you it can take seconds if you will open up and allow it.
Yeah.
You can literally wake up the new you and be completely and perfectly healed and happy if that's what you choose to experience.
Okay.
For most people, it's got to have it's got to have some sort of time attached to it, because that too is a
Taught.
construct
It's taught. Yeah.
that's taught. Things
Agreed.
take time. And the irony is that each person has their definition of what takes longer, what takes a short amount of time.
Okay.
Like if you have a perspective that $5 is a small amount and easy to instantaneously manifest into your reality, then that will take less time.
Mm-hmm.
If you think $100,000 is big and, oh my God, that's going to take a while to come into fruition, then a while it shall take.
Yeah.
So time is a concept of your own individual mind, and those things that you are wanting to manifest are concepts of your own individual mind. Once you have done the job of imagining the thing, the next part of that is don't look to reality for validation.
Okay.
Because the reality that you're experiencing now is the imagination that you had yesterday.
Okay.
And the day before that, or the blueprint that you were living in yesterday or the day before.
Right.
So don't look to your reality for validation. Stay within, stay inside of yourself. The key to it is once you've decided that you've got an imagination and you're going to embrace that 100% internally, the next steps are to circumvent the doubt and the fear.
Okay.
And the best way to do that is to actually take your imagination and work backwards.
Okay.
So what do I mean by that? So normally, naturally, people will say, okay, I want to have a new car. So they envision, they visualize what color it is, what does it smell like, what will it feel like to go and get it, what will it feel like to drive it. You hear what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so what that does is when you're visualizing it, you're still visualizing it in future tense,
Mm-hmm.
which inadvertently, unfortunately, is still keeping it out in the future away from you.
Okay.
And that's the practice that's been taught. Visualize having it, visualize seeing it and smelling it as if you don't already have it. So what essentially is happening when you're visualizing that in that manner is you're still activating both ends of that concept. You're visualizing and practicing having it, but at the same time, you're inadvertently activating the I don't have it yet. So I'm going to visualize it in a past tense format, or in a futuristic format, which inadvertently still keeps it away from you.
Right.
And so then when you wake up every day and you're like, this crap is not working because it's been 442 days and I still don't have the thing. Well, the reason that you still don't have the thing is you're visualizing it and keeping it in the future.
Yeah.
You've got it locked in the future by saying, oh, it's going to smell so nice when I get it, or you're interacting with it, yes, as you were taught and through imagery and mental visualization, but you're doing it from a place of, I don't have it yet, so let me toy around with the imagination.
Okay.
So here is the pivotal key, so to speak, to unlock this whole thing. Once you've imagined the thing that you want and you've played around with, all right, I want a new Jeep. I want it to be yellow. I want, all the bells and whistles, and you've identified what they are and all of that. Then what you do is you take your imagination and you fast forward into the past and you visualize.
You fast forwarded into the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or whatever. Like you go back into past.
Okay.
So instead of saying futuristically, when I get in it and it's mine, it's going to have the new car smell, and you take and you move yourself into already having it.
Okay.
And you have that conversation with yourself.
All right.
Now that I have my brand new Jeep, I love the fact that I can do this in it. I love the fact that I can have this, or it feels like this. Talk about it as from the persona that you already have it. You already drive it every day. You already park it. Go 3 months into the past of already having it and live that life in your imagination.
So visualize yourself in the past.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
You take your visualizations.
Because that actually rang a bell with me for a minute, because a lot of people, I know, and I'm sure along with me, when we visualize things that we want, we look at ourselves, what we would look like in the future.
That's right.
And so that does make sense, actually.
And so you keep it in the future, and you never really bring it that much closer to you when you do that. And so if you'll take and you'll toggle your visualizations or your imagination to, what does it look like when I've already owned it for 3 months?
Mm-hmm.
What does my life look like already having it sit in my driveway for 3 months? What does my day look like? What does my persona look like? What character do I morph into?
Yeah.
How does that feel inside my body, already having that brand new car sitting in my driveway, and I'm parking it on the right in my garage or on the left, and I love it, and I'm so grateful that I go, and part of my routine is every weekend I go and I give it a bath and I clean it all back up and make it all shiny. I love getting in it and imagining, you take yourself to the grocery store in it, and you are living your day to day in that vehicle as if you've already owned it for 2 or 3 months, even down to making the payment if you finance it.
Yeah.
Visualize yourself having already made payment 1 in this month and payment 2, and you wrote the check for the payment that you needed to make for the first 3 months that you owned it.
Yeah.
Visualize paying the insurance on it. Visualize taking it out for a joyride with the tops down, as though you already own it, and start having that conversation. Then the universe has no choice but to bring it about, because, and this has already been scientifically proven, the mind doesn't know what is imagination and what is real. And this has been proven by the athletes who visualize themselves doing free throws or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The mind doesn't know whether it's actually sitting in the driveway or whether it doesn't. The subconscious mind.
Yeah.
So whenever the universe is putting things together to bring that into fruition, because you know, like you know, that you already own it, then the universe has no choice but to bring that into reality.
Yeah.
You trying to figure out the how is not your business, not your monkey, not your circus. So when the doubt comes in, or when you're trying to figure out the how, which is doubt trying to maintain its clutches on you,
Mm-hmm.
you need to come up with a mantra that says, that's not my business, not my bubble. And don't give it any emotion. Don't give it any time. Acknowledge that, oh, you know what? I recognize you, you little booger. You're doubt.
Okay.
I swipe you aside. I
Swiper,
sit
no
you
swiping.
aside. You get none of my attention. You get none of my emotion. And then immediately take yourself back to that visualization of saying, this is already done. I already own it. It is already sitting in my driveway. You get no more of my attention, doubt. Sit down, shut the fuck up. You don't get to play in this game. And begin to do that. And you'll see the manifestation happening very easily and very quickly when you begin to play the game in that manner.
Yeah.
The doubt will still try to keep its arm hold on you, and so little snippets of doubt will pop in. But the key is not losing your emotional state of being when the doubt comes in. And how do you do that? So,
well,
first,
let me
ahead.
interject.
Yeah.
When I was coaching baseball, specifically pitching coach, because I was a pitcher, I loved to pitch. And my coach back in the day taught me, when you're on the mound, before you throw the ball, close your eyes and see where the ball's going.
Yeah.
Imagine where the ball's going.
Exactly.
And then before you throw the ball, do it again, and then move in to the motion that you visualized.
Right.
And so basically you're visualizing it and stepping into it.
That's right.
And I guess and I used to teach, kids to do it on the mound. I would have them keep their eyes closed and and imagine where the ball's going. Is it a strike? Is it high inside? Whatever it is. And then do it with your eyes closed. And then,
you mean throw the ball with your eyes closed?
yes. And
okay.
that was actually an exercise. I did it once a week with all the kids I coached. I had a bunch of them I coached. And I would have them go through this exercise for 15 minutes and then 15 minutes throwing strikes. And it proved that it worked because their strike percentages would jump 20, 30, 40%.
Yeah.
And then as the more they do it, they got to where they could, place corners, and they would do it very repetitively and by moving into that, because that was the next thing that I taught them was visualize it, throw it with your eyes closed, and then the next 15 minutes is you're going to get on the mound, you're going to come set, you're going to get to your spot, you're going to visualize what it looks like with your eyes closed, and then before you throw, you're going to open your eyes and visualize that motion into it. So it's kind of the same scenario that you're talking about is they're not viewing themselves into the future. They're viewing themselves right now and moving into it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, but how do you get there?
Right.
You've got to assume that persona.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you
can't be the old persona that's full of doubt and fear and get there. You have to assume that new persona. And so how do you do that? You take your imagination and you live 3 months in the past.
Yeah.
Of already owning it, already having it, already playing with it, already interacting with it, whatever that is. And if you'll take a minute and really think about what I'm saying and what I'm telling you, when it is something obtainable based on your beliefs, you do this naturally when you get out of your own way. For example, I'll go with something people, generally speaking, find easy. When you wake up and you decide, oh, you know what? Or maybe you saw a commercial, I'd like to have that shirt. That is the first step. That's an imagination or a mental creation of a thing that you want.
Okay.
And then you make a decision that you're going to have it And you actually, most people, and we're going to stay with the shirt concept. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go buy it. Whatever that story is, whatever justification you had to give yourself, whatever. If you really break down the steps of that, the next thing you do is you structure a time in your busy world of when you can go to the mall and buy that shirt.
Yeah.
Then, if you notice, what you do next is you start in your mind saying, oh, that shirt would look perfect with these pants. That shirt's going to look great with these pants. I have a blazer in the closet. That shirt's going to look really great with these pants and these shoes and this blazer. And so in your mind, you're already creating having it and wearing it with the things that are already existent in your closet.
Yeah.
So you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Just on a note that's more achievable.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's where your beliefs lay.
Right. Because it's a shirt and it's, $15, $20, $100, whatever that amount of money is doable to you. And so for most people, whenever it's a material thing such as a shirt, doubt doesn't come in and play or toy around much with that. But you're doing this same technique where you imagine and make a decision that it's going to be yours. And I am going, as soon as I get off work, and I'm going to go to the mall and I'm going to purchase it.
Okay.
And throughout your work day, little desire thoughts come in to pop into your head, and you'll get those little thoughts of, oh, you know what? I've got the perfect little jacket that is going to look amazing with that.
Yeah, guys, don't do that.
I'm just talking from whatever.
I'm just playing with you.
And so if you will stop and think about this steps of this component and this mechanism, you already do it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you have a belief that it's doable. It's when you get to those bigger things that you view as bigger things that is, for some people, a little more challenging.
Yeah.
But if you'll work the same process, whether it be a $50,000 new vehicle or whatever, $100,000 motor coach or $300,000 home, you can manifest that into your reality, and all of the hows, which are not your business, will be meticulously and beautifully put into place in ways you could not even conceptualize and be taken care of.
Right.
You'll have desires and nudges to go and do certain things.
Because you never know what'll happen.
Around the topic.
Yeah.
But they'll be in line and in flow with getting the next action step done, which is a very different energy and a very different perspective of, okay, I want this thing and I have to figure out how to get it. Mm-hmm. And so in how to get it, I know that when we're going to take the car, for example, I know that part of the how is I've got to go and I've got to finance it. And so I know that my credit's got to be a certain number. So then you start doing the research on what number your credit has to be. And you've got to have a certain amount of down payment. And that's all based on your belief around what you think it takes to buy a car.
Yeah.
And so then you take action steps on making sure your credit is up to par and making sure you save for 6 months, a year, putting money back to make sure you have this down payment that you think you have to have because you're busy worried about how that happens.
Right.
And the how is not your job.
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you, as firsthand users of this technique, down payments don't have to happen.
Nope. We got a $200,000 motorhome without a down payment.
A car or a motorhome or whatever.
Right.
You can walk in there and finance something without a down payment.
Oh, yeah.
And we speak from that
Yeah, we
place.
walked in and bought this.
And our credit is
$600.
not like in the 800s or 900s or thousands.
Yeah.
We're average people, and you don't have to have a down payment. So if anybody is running that muck around in their head, let me set the record straight. The how is not your business.
Right.
And you don't have to have a down payment. I'm telling you that. When you release figuring out how to make something happen, and you take your energy, which now is undivided, and you put it into doing your imagination and your visualization in reverse, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
then the how, it magically gets figured out.
That's the
for
trap.
you.
That's the trap, and I want to bring that into people's
Sure.
thought is when you, like, for example, when you manifested the Jeep into our life, because we were going to buy a Gladiator back in the day, and then they were first out. We didn't go buy it. Man, then COVID hit, and it was nuts. And then finally you started creating, you started setting intention to buy the Gladiator. And a lot of people get caught in this premise right here is I'm going to go do it this way at this place I'm going to, and then they get there, and by the time they get there, they listen to because of their belief system, they listen to the rigmarole from the salesman, and because they have now created it, you have to be okay with understanding that you're not going to manifest the steps, you're going to manifest the result. Like our steps to buying that Jeep was way different than what I originally thought about doing.
Right. You've got to be open to letting the universe create the steps. That's why I said the how is not your business.
Right. And that's where that's the trap.
To get from point A to point B is not your business.
Just go live in that way.
So when you go to buy the car, for example, and the finance person starts giving you their nonsense.
Because they're trying to make more money.
That is not your belief system, and it is not your how. And that conversation is... Okay, well, I don't care how it gets done. I'm not putting a deposit down. And if you can't make it happen, then I'll find somebody who can.
Right.
Be willing to
have
that place not be the place where you buy it, because you're not willing to buy into his or her being
or
the salesperson.
That place you're working.
Their beliefs around that, because they're working from their own template of beliefs and how they were taught, and what their job objective makes them go through. That doesn't mean you have to buy into it.
Right.
That doesn't mean that it has to look that way.
Right.
But you have to let go of and release. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is a sign.
Yes.
Okay, well, he's saying I have to have a down payment. Okay, so maybe I was wrong, and maybe this is the universe reinforcing the fact that, yes, I need a down payment. Wrongo bongo. Absolutely wrong.
Right.
That is doubt
creeping in.
Hanging on to and creeping in, trying to survive.
Agreed.
And the beautiful thing is, and an interesting way to look at that is, when you have those moments of doubt creep back in, it's how you can look at that is that if doubt is still kind of creeping back in, that means I'm getting closer and closer to manifesting and accepting and receiving the thing that I want, because doubt is having to pull out all of its stops to get me to come back to the world of living in doubt.
Yes.
That means it's losing its firm hold. It's losing its grip.
Right.
And you're getting better and better at not living in the world of, or the matrix of, doubt and fear.
Right.
When it starts doing those little pop back up for a second kind of things, it's trying all it can to get you to come back over to that side.
And this is actually a system that works in many different ways.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work just with money.
It
Like,
works
for
in
example,
all ways.
It works. Yeah, I totally agree with you because as we were talking about it, there's things in my life that I do it in and things I don't.
Exactly. And if anybody will stop and really talk to themselves and really conceptualize what I'm saying, they'll recognize that they do it in areas.
Yeah.
And
that's
start.
the easiest part of their life, probably.
That's right. And so start doing it in all the areas. It works in every single area. The universe does not have eyes. The universe does not have ears. It goes on emotions, how
Energy,
you feel when you set your intention. How does it feel whenever you're talking yourself through something that you desire, something that you want?
And open the flow gates. Let it allow whatever's going to happen. And,
that's right.
And because, like, for example, we've had people say, I want a new job. I want to go somewhere else. I want this job. I want to go do this. I've always wanted to go do it. Mm-hmm. But they will not, even though the breadcrumbs fall in their path, mm-hmm. they will not leave the job they're in. They won't go do something else for now. They won't. And you don't know. That could be a step that's being created because that's what's got to get you out of what you're doing. You're stuck in a habit.
Right. So let's talk about that for a second, too, because that's part of this and it's a very juicy topic.
Yeah.
When you get that notion, that desire, that want that pops into your head, that is not just a random, I want this, but I'm not supposed to have it. I want it and I'm supposed to suffer without it.
Right.
That is not how this is all designed. When you get that moment where you want the thing that you want, whether it be a job, a relationship, a new car, a new house, whatever, that is desire. Mm-hmm. And so let's talk about that. You are not given the desire to want something unless it has already manifested and is ready for you to align with it and it exists in a reality.
Right.
Otherwise, if it didn't already exist in a reality, there would be nothing to want.
Right.
There would be nothing to desire.
Right.
So the fact that you're desiring it, the fact that you're wanting it means it is already done. It is already created in that reality. Your job now is to line up with it.
Right.
And you do that by what I just explained and revealed to you. The secret is knowing, like you know, that it already exists because you had the desired thought. Mm-hmm. You had the want thought. That means the universe, God, your higher self, whatever you name that thing that exists, has already created it and put it into play in the reality.
Right.
It's sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah, here's a prime example of this. It happened to me yesterday.
Yeah.
When I was down in the office here at the RV park, and this lady, she drives a very high-end Mustang 5.0. It's a special edition or something.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's a heck of a car. Because you can tell it's like high horsepower.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, yeah, I always wanted one.
Yeah.
And she said, I was driving an old Ford pickup, and she said she'd always daydreamed this, and then she saw a commercial the day before. She's like, man, I would do anything to get that Mustang 5.0 convertible, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
And she said then I took my truck in, I was going to go trade it in, not even thinking about the Mustang.
Right.
She said, all I did was I was urged that morning to get rid of this truck because it's going to cost me a bunch of money if I don't.
Yeah.
And I walked in there and I was sitting there talking to the salesman. I had went and test drove a couple of trucks, and then the sales manager drives this car onto the showroom floor.
Yep.
Right to her left, and revs it up and turns it off.
Yeah. And
she turned around and she said, how do I get that car? To the salesman. And he's like, oh, this is this. And she said, I don't care. I'm not asking you that question. Is that car sold? And he said, no. She said, well, I want it. And he said, what, you want to test drive? She said, no, I want that car.
Yeah.
And the guy went back and he said, I don't know with your credit score, because they'd already run her credit.
Right.
And she said, well, tell the sales manager that if he doesn't sell me that car, I am not buying anything.
There you go.
And she came, and the guy came back 15 minutes later with paperwork, and she bought it and drove it up. It's brand new. It's sitting down here. She just did this last week.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. When you go in as that new person, assume that new character, and you know, like you know, like you know.
Right. Because she
then
said
anything is possible.
Right. She said I told the salesman, if they can approve me for this car, they can approve me for that car.
That's right.
And she said, because she got a little angry. The guy said, "Oh, with your credit score, what?" She said, "What's credit score got to do with anything? I'm going to drive that car out of here today, or I'm not driving anything."
That's right.
And so it was a great.
She made the determination that is the car she was going to have.
Right.
And even if she had to walk out
away.
the door with nothing,
which freed the energy of the beliefs.
That's right. That's right. And it eliminated the doubt and the fear. And so that very moment she stepped into that timeline where her having and owning and driving that car is where she stepped into.
Yep.
And she didn't have to do any circus act to do it. She didn't have to do any bullshit to do it.
She made up her mind is what she said.
She didn't allow his garbage to interfere with her and take her back to that place of doubt, and didn't let all that creep back in. She made a decision that I own this car. I am driving this car out the door. And if you're not going to sell it to me, I'll find somebody who will, period. Because that's the new me of who I am.
She said, I sit there in that seat and I said to myself, I'm not going to keep getting caught up in this trap of buying these freaking cheap vehicles that I don't want.
Exactly.
And she said, as the salesman walked away, because she was mad at this guy now.
Yeah.
Because he tried to tell her she couldn't have it.
Right.
And so that's when she put her foot down and said, either I drive out with that or I drive out with nothing. Do you want to make a sale today?
Right.
And because I mean it. And then the guy walked out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, good. That's great for her, you know. She said, a switch just flipped in me.
That's right.
And that's that thing. That's
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Knowing like you know, and not accepting anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let that switch flip in any area of your life.
Yep.
No matter how big or small you think it is, when you become that person that says, nope, I am taking this home. I am owning this. I own this now. This is mine, and I will accept nothing less. Period.
So flip the switch from manifester to believer.
That's right. That switch flips.
Yeah.
Now, if you're having a little struggle with it, the technique I taught you is, go in reverse.
Yeah.
Take your visualization of the thing that you've imagined and created that you want, and stop living as though it's in the future. Yeah. When I get it, I'm gonna.
Right.
And fast forward 3 months of already having it, and daydream about what it's like in your life to have that person, thing, whatever it is, and what does your day look like having that thing in your life? Daydream about that.
Right.
What does it look like when you get up out of the bed? What does it feel like? What is it? What does it create in a feeling sense? What kind of emotions does it create? Explore all avenues of that daydream, just like we teach you, daydream about the thing that you want, taste it, smell it, go test drive it. Now take your daydreams and put them 3 months in the past. You've already gotten it. You already own it. It already sits in your driveway. What does it feel like to get up?
Walking into the new job, whatever. Yeah.
That's right. What does it feel like to get in the car in the morning, turn it on? What does it sound like? What does it smell like when you're already driving it to that job or wherever you're going in it?
Yeah. Take
your imagination to already having it and live that way.
In the personal development course, Coach Foster would say to you, you need to go get you a book and name it 3 months ago. Of course, I didn't know that this was going to come into my reality, and I didn't know the other steps that you've added to it today. And he said, write down the things that you want and write down and describe a scene with you with whatever that is.
That's right.
And then 3 months from now, go back and check it.
Yeah, that's right.
Every 3 months, go check your book.
Yeah.
And see if you've manifested it or not.
But check it from the energy of, I don't have it yet.
Yeah.
Don't check it from that doubtful kind of energy by looking at reality and saying, see, I told you this wouldn't work. I don't have it yet.
Right.
And you have to remember that your current reality that you live in, it will show you, mirror to you, yesterday's persona.
Yeah.
It will, and so if yesterday you were still living kind of in that doubt place, or doubt pops in and you're giving it an emotional interaction.
Right.
And hear me. If doubt pops in and you're giving it an emotional interaction,
We'll stifle it.
It will cause you to relive not having the thing that you want.
Yeah.
So let me go into a little bit of an explanation here. If you are used to unconsciously living with the doubt,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing that unconsciously, where you want this thing and you believe that it's bigger than what you can actually manifest, your doubt mechanism will convince you to stay exactly where you're at and not do anything towards that.
Yeah.
If that's the habit that you are used to living, then that is going to creep in and catch you off guard by surprise. And if you're not taking the 20-second doubt reframe technique that I've given you and learning a new way and a new habit of how to deal with the doubt, it will keep feeding, your energy will be split.
Yeah.
So you're imagining the thing you want, but yet you're still giving doubt a portion of your energetic mind as well. Then, yeah, your reality's not going to reveal that, or it will take longer.
Agreed.
So whenever doubt does pop in, and it will if you are one who lives habitually by the doubt concept.
With the monkey mind.
You got to do that 20-second reframe and acknowledge the doubt with no emotion. Oh, I recognize you, you little funny bastard.
Yeah, little bastard.
Your doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be cloaked as fear or, it still is the core of doubt.
Yeah.
When you feel that fear or you feel that anxiety or you feel that, I can't really do it, so just forget about it. Energy within your core of your being, acknowledge that as, okay, this is doubt still trying to hang on. Acknowledge it, but don't give it an emotion.
Yeah.
And tell it to shut the fuck up. Whatever that wording is for you.
Yeah.
Sit down. You get no attention from me. I am not going to play in that world. I'm not following you down this trail of words that take you into that place of convincing yourself that you can't have the thing because you followed doubt right into the forest of, I can't have it.
Yeah.
Don't go there. As soon as you recognize that it's doubt, find that neutral place where it doesn't get to cause anxiety, hopelessness, disappointment. Take yourself back into that visualization of, and say the words, you know what? I acknowledge you doubt, but listen, you can fuck off because I already own this thing.
Yep.
I already interact with it. The money is already in my bank. The car is already sitting in my driveway. The shirt is already in my wardrobe and I am wearing it every day if I want to.
Yeah.
Take yourself back into that visualization, that imagination of already owning it, and spend the other 19 seconds of doing that visualization of where you already own it and you're already interacting with it, and it's 3 months after you've bought it or purchased it, how does that feel?
Right.
Find that feeling.
Agreed.
If it's money that you're trying to manifest, find the visualization of having already have it in your bank account. And then when you get there and you see it in your visualization in your bank account, search yourself for what that would actually feel like.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like peace. It feels like I can breathe.
Yeah.
It feels like calm. It feels like I am so grateful because I can pay this bill. I can buy this thing I've always
take this
wanted.
Trip. No, take
I
this
can
trip.
take this trip, whatever that is. But feel the feelings in your body once you've done the visualization.
Right.
Find that vibrational frequency of the whatever feeling it's going to bring about to you, knowing that you already have that thing.
Yeah, like it.
That's what the universe works on. It works on the vibrational frequency of how you feel.
Yeah.
And you can test the theory, because as soon as you go back to the doubt, feel that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like shit. It does not feel good. And then take yourself back to the already having it and sit with that and find that feeling. They're two different feelings.
Yeah.
And so get a gauge on and calibrate with those two different feelings, so that when you go into that feeling, whether doubt's calling it fear or I told you so, or see this sign from the fucking universe says you can't have it.
Or a salesman.
Or salesman. You can recognize in your feeling body that, nope, that's just doubt. I recognize it and I do not accept it. I am back in this feeling.
Yeah.
And then find yourself back to that feeling of already having it, already owning it, already driving it, already spending it, already loving on a lover, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
It works in every single area of life.
Perfect. I like it.
Try it. 7-day challenge.
7-day challenge.
Pick one topic of something that you have wanted to bring into your life. And every day, every morning when you get up, intentionally set the groundwork for the kind of day that you're going to have. Things are always working out for me.
Perfect.
Take a few minutes to say that statement. Then take a few minutes to visualize already having the thing that you want. Already playing with it, already touching it, already in existence.
Put your visions into the past.
Right,
Yep.
in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Already having had it for 3 months.
Yeah.
What does my day look like now that I already have it and I've had it for a couple of months?
Right. Like it.
Like it's a car, and you feel the need to go and buy a burger and you spill your first mayonnaise and lettuce on the seat. You know, feel those feelings because you already own it. What does life look like? The news worn off, so now I'm going to let people eat in it. Right?
Right.
And do that in the morning, because that's the person that you want to assume. That's the character that you want to become.
For sure.
And if you'll do that when you get up in the morning, do that when you go to bed, that for 7 days, and then comment. How did your life change? What did you see change in your reality? We would love to hear it, because I assure you change will happen. Change will happen. 7-day challenge. I challenge you.
Perfect.
Because when you do it at bedtime, you're an open vessel when you go to sleep.
Yep.
All of the doubt bullshit, all of that monkey mind talk, all that goes away.
Yeah.
And so when you set the tone to go to bed and to experience already having this thing that you want or this person that you want, then the real magic can work work very quickly.
Yep, I like it.
So there you have it. There's the secret.
There's the secret. Alrighty. Well, are you complete?
I am complete.
Perfect. So am I. Well, hey guys, guess what? We are here in the expo, so come see us over at Ozark Research Institute. We're at the Holiday Inn in Springdale, Arkansas, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. You can come visit us there, and tickets are available at Ozark Research Institution.org.
Yep.
That's a mouthful.
It is.
You can buy the tickets to get in the expo. I think it's $70 a day. I think. I don't even know.
I don't know.
And then check out lucidiumworld.com because we're close. We're real close. And matter of fact, we're expecting any day. I was expecting today to launch, but we got a couple of more glitches on the iPad side.
Yeah.
And let's see here. Check out the new website and the store is up and running in the store. www.themerchcenters.org and hit the merch store. It's at the top right hand corner of the page.
Some of those T-shirts and the tumblers, and it's got some really cool stuff in it, you guys. Cool stuff in there. Birthday cards.
Yeah.
Go like check it out.
All right, guys. Hey, we appreciate y'all listening. Don't forget to like, follow, and share. And if you think this will resonate with anybody, hey, send it to your friends.
That's right. Share it.
Yep, share it out there.
And ring the bell.
What? Don't forget to what?
Ring that bell.
Hey, guys, we hope you all have an awesome day.
And send comments.
Oh, yeah, totally. We hope you all have an awesome day.
Love ya.